So I keep asking myself this question, and I'm tired of asking it, and I'm looking for an answer sooner than later. Much, 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 much sooner. When will biological men stop playing biological women's sports? Now, President Trump is back. You know it. He signed an executive order, and that's going to put a halt to the madness. However, sporadically in regions, pockets of the country, we still see it happen. Big story out of Maryland this past weekend. There you see the two fencers. I'm going to tell you about the one to the right. Her name, her, is the operative word. She's a biological female. Stephanie Turner. She made the decision not to compete against trans athlete Richmond Sullivan. Take a look at that dude right there. At the Cherry Blossom Open, instead she decided to take a knee. The ref dealt Turner a black card, the most severe penalties in the sport. And she was then escorted out of the event and made to sign a document acknowledging the penalty. They threw her out. She didn't want to compete against the dude. Now, she did a great interview today on Fox News. So I'm going to roll a few excerpts of that interview right now. Let's take a look at Stephanie explaining what went down this weekend as she was getting ready to participate in the tournament, and she highlights the ultimate disappointment.
This was actually a regional tournament held by the USFA at the University of Maryland. So part of my pre-competition ritual is to check the online registration to see who is going to be there and just double check my check-in times. And on the registration list, I saw Redmond Sullivan's name listed there. And I recognized this individual from a previous Redux article that had been written stating that this person was a man who had previously competed on the men's team at Wagner and was now competing as a woman within the USFA. So from that point, I just got really disappointed with the USFA and with this tournament, and I just felt like at a loss. I'd already committed so much money to it and training hours, and I was literally looking forward to this. I do this tournament every year. Yeah. I think this may be like my 10th year in a row doing this tournament. And I just got really sad and I started crying because this was like the last thing I wanted to deal with in my competition. Can
you imagine that? And that's exactly what I thought of even before I saw the interview. The point is, you have to worry about the competition, and worry is, it's a good thing naturally as a competitor. Look, she put in the resources, the training, the money, made time to get there and compete. And then, of course, you're stressed out because of one thing. You want to win, and you want to push yourself to the limit and challenge yourself and come away victorious. So you're dealing with that stress of competing. Then throw in the fact that you're competing against the guy. So she took a knee. And you know what? As cheesy and cliche as this may sound, it's ultimately true. She won anyway. She walked away a bigger winner. She's a hero. She exposed these woke chumps because that's exactly what they are. Now, John Scott asked her a great question. It was basically, I'm paraphrasing, but what did your opponent, what did the trans athlete think about the whole thing when it went down? Take a look and listen to the next clip here from the fencer, Stephanie Turner.
My opponent was a little bit confused, thinking that I was maybe hurt. And I said, no, I am refusing to fence you because I'm a woman and you are a man. I have much love and respect for you, but I will not compete against you.
Wow.
And he responded, okay, well, there's a, yes?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm sorry, what was his response?
His response was, okay, but there's a member of the board of directors here, and he supports me, and there's a policy that says that I'm a woman and I'm allowed to compete in the women's tournament, and if you do this, you're going to get black carded. And I said, I know.
And of course, USA Fencing, well, what do? They release a statement which they believe covers their backsides, but what it really does is just show how woke they are. Take a look. USA Fencing enacted our current transgender and non-binary athlete policy in 2023. The policy was designed to expand access to the sport of fencing and create inclusive, safe spaces. The policy is based on the principle that everyone should have the ability to participate in sports and was based upon the research available of the day. And one last clip I'm going to share with you from Stephanie Turner. She talks about the statement released by USA Fencing. Also the fact that I've alluded to this in the past, and it always makes me think when stories come out like this, just how selfish everyone is involved. You rather stomp on the women, the biological women, and not give them their right just to make one person happy. And you know what it comes down to? You couldn't cut it against the guys, so you have to find an advantage to win against the girls. One more look and listen to Stephanie Turner.
I am a woman and I have an athletic disadvantage to men, so I compete in the women's division, which is where I rightfully am. But he has been given this opportunity to fence in the women's division, and he can easily compete in the men's division. He can also compete at mixed events in local tournaments if he wants. There is a place for him. So the idea that they're expanding the women's is just essentially making it an open tournament that can include men, and it ends up hurting me and other girls.
Absolutely. It's a bunch of BS. She's too well-spoken and eloquent to say it that way. She put it her own way, and she hit the obligatory nails on the head. The women in the end get hurt. And once again, I am so looking forward to these stories being put on the back shelf, being dug 6 feet in the ground, and letting women compete against other biological women, because in the end it should be about one thing and one thing only. May the best woman win.